Thank you very much. I would like to focus my questioning on weighing the costs versus the benefits of this policy to workers themselves. And Ms. Penwalla, I think you did an excellent job of laying out a lot of the cost to workers, and so I want to ask you some more questions about that. But first, let's actually look at the purported benefits, because I do think it's probably true that there are some folks out there who are falling through the cracks of the existing regulatory scheme and probably do deserve overtime and aren't getting it right now. But as we just heard from Mr. DeCamp, the lever that is being pulled in an unprecedented way, in a very aggressive way, with this particular regulation or proposed rule is not the appropriate one to hone in on those folks who really are falling through the cracks. And what's more, we heard from Dr. Holtz-Eakin that the folks who will benefit aren't necessarily the ones who really need the help the most. And so I think that was a really important point that you made, and so I just want to give you a chance to repeat it. When you said that this would only benefit 2.4% of the people who would benefit are living in poverty. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And so what was your broader point there about the distributional effects of this policy?
Well, as my colleague said, this was intended as a backstop to catch people who were misclassified, and this aggressive raising of the threshold appears to be not driven by those considerations, but instead by just an attempt to redistribute wages toward lower wage individuals. Viewed from that perspective, it's a really poorly targeted policy. It does not help those who are living in poverty. Nearly 50% of it goes to families who are at 3 times the poverty level, and it comes with a set of costs that we're going to distribute to some people, but it has to come from somewhere.
That's
and
right.
In many cases, the implied redistribution is very perverse. It's from people who don't get a job to people who have a job. You never want to do that.
Right. So the benefits are fairly poorly targeted and certainly not overwhelming for all that many folks who really need help. So let's, as a policymaker, again, those are the benefits. Now let's weigh those against the costs. So Ms. Penwalla, you told us a little bit about your personal story. You immigrated from India and came to the United States in search of opportunities for education and entrepreneurship, bought your first hotel at age 22. You now own 8 hotels, employ 200 people. Would you say you're an example of the American dream?
100%, yeah. I would say that there's just not me. There's many immigrants who, work really, really hard. And I know one of our congresswomen mentioned that she grew up and a small business owner. So she would understand that, it's as an immigrant, when you come with nothing, you're basically doing everything, right? And I started in this industry in the same exact way. I started my job as a housekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing housekeeping. I was doing everything I needed to do. So I think, yeah, I would agree that that's really.
And you said something that I found very interesting. You said the single most important aspect of our business is our employees. What do you mean by that? You want to give them the chance at the American dream as well, right?
I've always believed in, and I think many business owners will look at that it's a team effort at a business, right? When you're running a business, you want to make sure that everybody is a part of not just the decision-making process, but they feel like they're part of that organization. And that's how I view our employees as part of our team.
Yeah.
And when you're with them for so many years, you want to make sure that you're taking care of them, which we are. We're always taking care of employees by providing flexibility, proper pay. But if the government gets involved, which it seems like it is, and starts putting out the regulations, that hurts the relationship between employers and employees.
That's a great point.
So if nothing is broken, well, what are we trying to fix? In my opinion, at least for my business perspective.
It interferes with the relationship, right? Yeah. And you, in fact, made a point here that hotels operate on very tight margins. Shocks to your businesses handed down by the government with nearly no time to adjust could be the difference between staying open and closing doors. So do you think hotels will shut down if this goes into effect?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And then what happens to the workers?
They don't have a job.
They don't have a job.
They don't have a job, right? So like I said, our success is our employees' success. Our employees' success is our success. So if we're not successful, if we're not able to keep our lights on and keep the doors open and keep the business running, then the 200 employees or majority employees would be out of the job, and they would have to go somewhere else, look for different positions.
And then even those who are able to stay open, do you think they might have to lay off workers if this rule goes into effect?
Yes, yes, because, obviously, there's a tight budget of running a property. And as I mentioned, especially now, because of so much fixed costs are going up, and because of the lending part of it. Like, so when I mentioned the refinancing of the property, when you have a property that we're paying 5.5%, all of a sudden that interest rate goes to 10.5%, your debt now doubles on a monthly basis. So those projections, we know as owners, how to handle those. But then on top of that, if you're putting regulations such as overtime rule, it would be just very difficult. So if even the business still stays open, we would have to move some of the salaried employees to hourly employees to make sure that we're managing the budget.
Thank you. My time has expired. I now recognize